Hello, my name is Nathan, and hello also family and friends. Well, you've probably guessed it, this is a bonus episode. You weren't expecting that, I'm sure. It's finally Saturday afternoon, in this case, the day before the race, so race eve, and I have or pretty much can't help myself, wanted to do a bonus episode, one more before the big day. So it's mid-afternoon, and for those just joining me, I am doing a video diary of my journey to Ironman Busselton, a long-distance triathlon event. And as mentioned, it is tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock local time, things get very serious, and had lots of flutters through the week, and there's a set of items which I go through to keep things hopefully interesting and a good video record for myself. So onwards and upwards. So how am I feeling? Well, I'm pretty close to a 10. I'm going to say 9, but yeah, feeling very, very good. Well rested, and yeah, just good energy levels, feeling good, positive, all those sorts of things. Training distances, so swim was just on 5k for the past week. My riding was 42k and the run was 7.5. So obviously crazy low, but reasonably typical for the week before the race. My average resting heart rate, which I've been tracking, is still 47, so just like last week. Probably making sense it hasn't moved, although I did think it would have been closer to 45, maybe 46, but not to be. My weight, 84, I would say. Average, because it does fluctuate. Things learnt from the training. The only thing in this category was a reminder of don't panic. And that was probably in particular because there was some leftovers from Saturday where a 2-hour ride with efforts in it and a 1-hour run which did not go to plan at all. And that run section, the last half an hour, was a fail, but there were some leftovers in the knees from that, and that's part of the inoculation process for preparing for such an event. It messed with me a little bit mentally, but that's gone away and feeling good there. So certainly don't panic. It's been a good reminder. Injuries and niggles. So this is the day before. So there's nothing, only one hangover, which is the Achilles tendonitis that I've been talking about. So that's a regime of stretching and strengthening. It's in a pretty good state. No real problems, but it's certainly still there. And after tomorrow, it will take a continued process. So I think that's actually a huge achievement that it hasn't derailed. That type of injury does have the ability to be a game changer. So that's a combination of looking after what you need and I would say smart training, because the coach was aware of that. Equipment and maintenance. So no real changes anywhere. Although that last ride I was talking about last Saturday, there was sections in rain, patches of rain is what I'm meaning to say. I wasn't sure of the condition of the chain, and I mentally don't like to do that full clean and re-lubrication because it takes roughly 2 hours, and I mean 2 hours. And so I did it, and from the first bottle, it goes through 8 to 9 or 10 bottles sometimes of certain liquids. In fact, there's only 2 types, but from the first bottle I could tell absolutely correct decision. And after it's done, not only does it feel good when you're hanging on to it and there's not much debris which goes on your hands from when you're handling it, but it's feeling very lubricated and runs well on the bike. Obviously I cleaned the drive chain as well. So new chain for race day, which once again confirmed that it was a very good decision. I'm going to skip achievements and failures because I completed the remaining sessions appropriately, and the point of those were to get through unscathed, just continue ticking things over. in a smart and controlled way the best you can. So what I'm going to talk about is travel, conditions, the expo, and the plan, the race plan. So I'm going to keep things succinct as I can, but here we go. So the travel, we left at, as in our home, at about 6:40 roughly a.m. local time. This involved driving to the place where they're looking after our vehicle, and there was 2 flights, one 2 hours and change, which was delayed, and then the other one, which was 4 to 4.5 hours, and then there was significant delays getting the bike and the luggage. I even had the wait on the bike type jitters where you're just waiting and hoping that it actually made the flight, because you don't know. And so even though not this, and then it involved a car drive after collecting luggage and the bike of roughly 2.5, maybe towards 3 hours, which the rental car that we borrowed, we had an issue restarting it, and good thinking by the wife worked out. There was a communication issue between the starting device and the starting key and the starting device. They weren't talking to each other. We had to find out how to get them to talk to each other. So that was great, but that wasted time there. So all up, there was 16 to 17 hours from leaving driveway to be in the motel. So I thought that this morning I would have trouble getting up. There was absolutely no issues. I even postponed putting the bike together because of just fatigue and wanting to get to bed. I really wanted yesterday to be getting here, assemble the bike, know that it is done, and it sits in the corner waiting for tomorrow's activities, being today, of course. But that didn't happen. Made the decision over mental and physical fatigue just to go to sleep. So that all turned out to be a good decision, and I got up feeling very good, energy levels, and assembled the bike, took my time, and then went down and did a swim. Not the course, they didn't let us do that, but they set up a course for us to do, which was 400 to 500 meters, so you could do as many loops as you want. I did about 1 kilometer, which was 2 loops, so I was very happy with that. My average pace, and absolutely taking it easy, was 1 minute 58 seconds per 100 meters, which is obviously just inside 2-minute pace, which if you're in your suit and just relaxing, that's a good pace to be able to do. So when we're putting in the effort tomorrow, I'm expecting way under that, or an appropriate amount under that. So that was great this morning to feel like that. Had a very good day of getting things done, and it's, like I say, mid-afternoon, and usually this sort of time at events, scrambling to still get some things done. Essentially, yes, there is probably about another half an hour's worth of equipment to be ready, and then it just sits in the corner. So that's pretty good for half an hour compared to what can be a couple of hours. So that's all good for just relaxing, staying off the feet, and taking it easy. So the conditions here, it is very pleasant. It got to 25, could have been 26, but when I was checking it was 25. The water temperature was gorgeous, not cold, not warm. I guess you'd say just on the cooler side of lukewarm. You can see all the way down to the bottom, not that it's terribly deep anyway, and I swam under some of the jetties which are there, which apparently is where the sharks like to be. But when I went under there, apparently there were no sharks, but there were bait fish. So bait fish, eh? Anyway, so that was good to have a swim on course and just enjoy those conditions. Now, I think it was about midday, 1 o'clock, and certainly the wind was up and there was lots of chop out there. Now, Absolutely chop, not so still flat, but just choppy bits everywhere, and no actual waves. So that's best case. If you've got chop, you want chop without the ups and downs. But this morning, before 8 o'clock, there was absolutely none of that, and it was incredible conditions. Forecast is, and we've been watching this for the last 2 weeks. We were thinking at times as high as 28, 29. Forecast is 24, give or take an argument whether it's going to be 23 or 25. My app I looked at says 24. Interesting though, the low tonight on my app is 17. So this morning I think 14 or 15. So that's interesting. But it'll be a cool start, and it's just get stretched, get in, and just get out there and enjoy. Before I get on to the plan, the venue's fantastic. WA Busselton local council have done excellent. There are still some things being worked on, but it is a fantastic venue. Spectator friendly, lots of shade, lots of nice places to sit, lots of grass. Transition has grass, but it's very close to dying. It's a yellow colour, certainly not green, so they're going to need to deal with that. And yes, shops were all good, and we enjoyed a place called the Coffee House, the Urban Coffee House. If you're over here, definitely drop into there. Lots of good options. So the thing I was disappointed with, and it's I'm going to say only complaint, is the expo. As you walked through the expo, there would be, in terms of real estate, I'd say 30 metres, which made up about, I'm going to say 8 stalls. That's it, 8 stalls for a long course Ironman event. Now, WA, West Coast, a lot way away from other places, but I think there would have been a way to have more vendors. That's just terrible, and I'm pretty sure it's what Ironman are charging. And the vendors have obviously got their reasons, but it would be commercial before anything, and rightly so. They need to be sustainable. So that was disappointing, and I think the biggest thing that should have been there is a shoe vendor. And Hoka they're a major sponsor if you know the sport. But yeah, I certainly think that there could have been some smart ways of teaming up to get some more representation, even with the current costs, but obviously I don't know those, so maybe I'm talking out of school. I thought that's disappointing. Me, as someone who wants to look at stuff and ask questions, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, I'm reasonably experienced, so you would think those less experienced would have more questions. There's money to be made by those vendors, but I think that's just disappointing. Whether it's destination or costs by Ironman, I'm not impressed. I think it's a terrible situation, and they should work with their vendors because they sell their product, and I think they should work harder on that type of situation. All right, so finishing up, the last item to talk about is my race plan, which I'm going to just go through in brief because I want to have it as simple as possible. So the swim, really, it's always been the same case, but for me, the big reminder tomorrow is to be stretched. Get stretched. In particular, there's no in particular. It's legs, upper and lower, and of course, shoulders and tries, and your core. Just get everything stretched. Get that warm-up swim done. Hit the pace and just hold it. There will be reasons to go quicker. If someone's going past you and you want to try and draft off them, which is totally legal, then you should do that. And if it's not worth it, then obviously let them go and continue on as planned. There's not much else you can do while swimming because it's just that type of environment. There's no special needs, no places to stop. So that's the swim. Get out. I'll be hoping for an hour and 10 or as far as I can get inside that. That would be good. The bike situation is, once again, I'm going to watch my power numbers. Now, it's pretty much 180 to 200. Now, I'm saying that on average over the whole time, whatever it does turn out to be. It could be under that. But in the first hour, I'm certainly going to take my lead from Dan Plews, who is arguably the best and certainly one of the best age group athletes in the sport in the world. And he says always make the first hour conservative. So, for example, for me, that could be 160 watts. So I'm also looking for the breeze, because everyone knows on this course there will be breeze which will hurt you and will help you. So I'll be looking to maximize it when it counts and be as efficient as I can when it's payback on me. Just looking, as I've practiced, to eat every 20 minutes, roughly. That's the type of timing I'll be looking for. On my calculations, that is about anywhere from 90 to 120 grams of carbs per hour. Could be as low as 80, but on the numbers that I want to do, it's 90 to 120. So anywhere in those windows I think is acceptable, and that's what I've practiced. Special needs, hoping that in the second half of the bike there's no flavour fatigue, but I have a couple of Vegemite sandwiches which will be in that container, and I'll be using those if needed, because that's once again the numbers I'm after. Will be a good substitute to try and tackle that flavour sweetness fatigue. On the run, and I'll be hoping to be as far inside 5.5 hours. If I'm 5.5, then so be it, but looking to be as close to 5 as possible. And the run, now I was saying to the wife earlier today that this is an uncovered run. There are no shade options, and I'd love to be proven wrong, and anywhere there is shade, fantastic. But it's uncovered, which means you needed to do most of your practice in uncovered running. Wind won't be a factor, and around that 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock period when most people will be running, the temperature does drop, as we're seeing today. So if you're paying attention, you should know how the conditions are going to fall and rise through the day. The breeze is gorgeous, so be aware of that. I'm going to try and be every 3K refueling, and I'm going to move from my glucose powder-based carbs to the Morton gels, which will be on the course. And I, again, for my special needs, have a Vegemite sandwich in there with a spare set of socks, just in case it gets wet. Not forecast, but let's have it and not use it rather than not have it and wish you did. So, and to really, there haven't been many races, long course, or at least full distance, where I've been able to actually use my run ability. So I'm hoping I can do that tomorrow. Now, my plan also, I better mention, is to try and run till, best case, 15K. If things are fantastic, then I might push to 18, as in a continuous run from start till then, unless obviously a toilet stop, then that would be a stop. But once I hit that, I think 15, K at the most, I'll be looking to walk the aid stations and then run quicker, like quite a bit quicker, between the aid stations, and then obviously take some fuel, just relax for a maximum of 30 seconds, and then that's it. Walk, run, walk, run, walk, run, walk, run, all the way to the end. So that's my my plan that I'm going to try for tomorrow in the run. And maybe the last 5K, 2K, 3K, just hold rather than walk, run. But yeah, try and get to 15. If it's 10, so be it. If it's 12, but 15 would be good. Don't really need to go much further than that before you walk, run. But let's see how it's all going, how I've been true to my my plans. All right, so we're just about to hit 20 minutes. So hopefully the longer video has been helpful. I will set up the last video as soon as possible, but all the best with your weekend. I'm going to get into some rest, dinner, and then it'll be sleep time here. So transition opens at 5:15, so you do the maths from there. All right, have a good weekend and enjoy your training. Bye for now.